Welcome back to Folklore, everyone. Between failing the last quest 3 times and finally going back to beat it, I had to take on the last of Ellen's daytime quests. The good news is, this one's a heck of a lot more fun, and pretty interesting too. And no, I'm quite sure you can't do this quest until long after Dr. Lester's dead. I don't think they were paying much attention to the chronology. Yeah, certainly want to go with my all-around best cloak for this quest. Yep, that means what you think it means. This is the first time we're going on a quest with both characters. Alright, that's the same one that I already talked to. He doesn't say anything new, but this one has some advice. So basically, none of the folks respawn, even when we come back to switch characters. But certain folks, namely the elemental ones, will only appear to certain characters. And in the first room, both doors are blocked with green crystals, meaning we need to capture the wind element folks. And there are a couple of Garbera right here in the room. And I was so distracted by my previous failures that I completely forgot which button it was to dodge and which one to open the menu. Fortunately, this is not a very difficult quest by any means. It's nice that they threw me a softball after the difficult time that I had with the previous one. And yeah, I accidentally killed the Garbera there. You have to capture all of them, unfortunately. But if you kill any of them, they'll just respawn. See, there it is over in the background. And if I can manage to get over there without getting hit... that opens the doors. But I might as well go ahead and clear out the folks here anyway, just so the Keats won't have to deal with them. Won't take too long, because I got my trusty bond element attack. And of course, very little opportunity to capitalize on it before the answer is to recover. But these are all really simple, easy folks that I've fought before. I mean, at the very least, the presence of Answerer and Garbera here suggests that you couldn't do this quest until Chapter 4 at the earliest. Dr. Lester died in Chapter 3. Yeah, I guess I should probably let that go, but... how did he ask Dr. Lester to look at Charlotte? Or has this thing been going on for a really long time, in which case I don't think there's a lot of need to worry. Anyway, we've got some Patriots here, and a Bulk, which is undoubtedly the folk that's guarding that purple crystal over on the other side of the room. And I don't have to worry about accidentally killing the Bulk while I'm fighting Patriot because it's immune to Gaboy's attack. Again, not that I'm too concerned, because if I did kill it, it would just respawn. And there's only one of it. Because I don't know how you'd capture a Bulk if there were more than one of them in the room. See how well Quasarilli works. A bit too well, I'm afraid. I'll have to wait for it to respawn and try again. I'll just make sure to stop a little earlier this time and use Puka to finish the job. Much better. So that's 2 of the 3 possible barriers that Ellen will be able to clear. And up next, it's just a Spriggan. And it looks like a green crystal from here, but that's a yellow one. So I'll have to come back as Keats and find an Earth Element folk to capture. And Grab Bag may or may not be the most efficient folk, but it's too much fun. I love it. Alright. We'll just finish the job with something a little more accurate. I mean, I don't have to capture the Spriggan, but I've had some trouble killing them in the past. This works. And it's mostly just so the Keats won't have to fight that, and the Earth Element folks when he comes back. And this is, of course, as far as we're going to go, because there's an ice crystal over there, and a fire crystal on the other side of the room. I probably actually should clear these folks out, but without an elemental folk to capture, it just doesn't seem worth the bother. He's always so condescending. Anyway, now we venture back into the area, and all the folks that Ellen has defeated have been cleared out. So I might as well take the other path, because this is obviously where the fire element folk is going to appear. And all the folks that I failed to clear out as Ellen are now going to interfere as I try to defeat a volcano. It's not that big a deal. None of these are particularly difficult. And I guess the Ogma can take a bit to put down. But I don't think there's any real threats here. I guess I'm going to take a couple hits here and there. Nothing major. And there's a life drop over there. Now it's just me and Volcano. And while he is a mini-boss and he's got a bunch of health, he's not difficult. Especially if I can keep him stun-locked like that. Although, I do have to be careful not to accidentally kill him. Of course, I could have gotten to the other side of this barrier just as easily, but I figured I might as well take it down. And because there was a mini-boss in the room, the mini-boss music is still playing. Actually, that's the mini-boss music from Warcadia and Hellrealm. Undersea City used the same mini-boss music as the Fairy Realm, and the Endless Corridor didn't have mini-boss music. I don't remember whether I pointed that out in videos before or just in the thread. But now it's out there, and the Ice Element folk is going to have to be on the other side of that wall. So I gotta take the long way around. And I already know very well how to deal with Padfoot. I suppose I'm probably going to be overusing Langalan in these videos. But there's a good reason for that. It's pretty much the best folk in Keats' arsenal. And the rest of the path, you don't really have a choice of what order you're going to do any of this stuff in. I suppose you could open that path and then come in here as Ellen. I think the barrier at the far end of this room initially has all 6 crystals on it. It just makes sense for it to be that way, to make sure that you capture all 6 of the element folks here. But I think you need to clear out at least 3 of them in order to get here. You might be able to make it with 2. No, because you have to clear out the wind crystal with Ellen in order to get Keats anywhere. Then you could clear out just the volcano and the padfoots, and you could get in here while leaving the Balvolk alive. But that's about the best you could do, I think. I think I'll just go ahead and kill the Bathyr. Faster than capturing them at this point. And we've still got 2 elemental folks to capture before we can move on to the midpoint. And over there is a water crystal. So I'll have to come back to this room as Ellen. It's the one real downside of this quest. Lots of backtracking. But at least there's no folks to fight along the way. So now back to the mini-boss room. And the water elemental folk is a single peg powler. Again, rather fortunate that there's not more than one of them. I don't know why I was using Habitrote there. Don't believe the peg powler is vulnerable to any status effects. Maybe Charm. I might not have ever tried Charm. But it's vulnerable to being captured, and that's what really matters. And once again, I know that in the final room there's going to be an ice element folk. So I can either come back and clear out the entire room at once as Keats, or I can go ahead as Ellen, clear out the other folks, and leave just the ice element one for Keats to capture when he comes back. And at least both of them do need to fight some Gladiolus. In Ellen's case, I need to defeat 3 of them, or capture 3 of them, and I think I still need to defeat a couple with Fomor. But I'm not going to capture more than 1 in this round. See what useful destroy elements I've got. Not all that many. We'll try to use some of the ones that I haven't really used all that much. We don't really see Degasser a lot in this LP. And Fomor remains pretty much the most effective one I've got, just at a very, very high cost. Amobium, not really getting a chance to do a whole lot. Really want to kill these guys with Fomor if I have to kill them at all. And this is the one that's almost dead. So one step closer to building up Fomor, and as you saw in the last video, I'm going to finish with that in the following quest. Degasser actually gets pretty strong if you charge it up enough. So that's this room cleared except for the hidden ice folk. So time to go back one last time, switch to Keats, and bring him back to this room. I don't really think you've got a choice about making 4 different runs through this area. And of course, the folk that we're fighting would have to be Amaryllis. And I really need to get some fire elements going here, so let's check out Automata, the new one that we got recently. I think I used it once to shatter a fire crystal, and that's all I've ever really done with it. Its attack is pretty monstrous. And it'll even hit Amaryllis out of the air, which is nice. The only downside, it takes almost your entire MC meter. And because of all those destroy element attacks I hit it with at the start, it didn't even give up its red id before I killed it. So this time, sticking with fire element entirely. And probably getting out a weaker one just so I can do more hits without doing too much damage. Bring it down to the ground, then run in and get some attacks in with Hinky Punk. And not use Galley Beggar at all, of course. Should be pretty close now. And there's the red id. Again, this is one of the more difficult captures in the game. It's usually difficult to even tell what vertical is with this particular id. I don't think there's any real danger of it escaping, but it's a hassle. I think I've almost got it. If it just get it to the center, even if I don't keep it there, it just immediately gives up the ghost. So finally, that's all 6 of the elemental folks, so I can move on to the midpoint of the realm and hopefully find out what it is that's happened to Charlotte. All in all, it was a pretty fun quest, though. I enjoyed it. And it was especially a relief after Fairy Photo Part 1. Yep, once again we gotta split up the characters and take both directions. I'm gonna send them to the directions they didn't go to in the actual Chapter 3. Just 'cause. I'm pretty sure that they'll have different sets of folks depending on which way you go. Obviously, there are the elements that correspond to each character. But the set that's in the Swamp of Oblivion has to be something that you can clear out in 10 minutes. And I'm pretty sure that the set that Keats fights here could not possibly be done within 10 minutes. As it is, the Earth Element set is absolutely nothing with Longalon. Next up, we've got Ice Element. So of course I'm going to pull out some good old Fire Element attacks. It's pretty much all stuff I've fought before, just now I've got a couple of new interesting folks I could use. And Automata makes quick work of just about everything. Admittedly, probably not the Selkie. I think I still have to use Earth Element for it. But fighting Selkie has always just been a matter of patience. So the third room is obviously going to be fire. And there's yet another volcano here. It's got a couple of bougainvillea. I need to kill some of them with some of the folks I've got. But I don't think I want to spend the effort and waste the health to do that right now. Gonna have to ignore the volcano and take out the other bougainvillea first. Not to mention that if I killed it, it'd probably just respawn. I think I do actually need to capture everything here. I don't know if Volcano's particularly weak to ice, though. Yeah, it's vulnerable at least, but non-elemental attacks seem to get the job done a bit faster. And in the final room, mix and match. But it's nothing major. We've just got Pori, 2 bougainvillea, and etc. Like I said, this is not a group that I think Keats would necessarily be able to defeat in 10 minutes. And the Excedra can safely be ignored for the most part. Except when it actually manages to attack you. But it's more of a nuisance where the bougainvilleas would actually be a threat if I left them alive for too long. So it's been a long time since we fought Excedra, and I think I only ever actually needed to kill it once. But we still remember the pattern. Take it down with Gargantua. There's probably other aerial attacks that I could use at this point, but I think it's got to be Destroy, and really Gargantua is the best one for the job. And then Fire Element once it's on the ground, till its Redded shows up. And it's annoying but no real problem to capture. And the first bugaboo is right over here. So it's the final part. And thinking about it, I should at least go back and see whether I can save at this point. Because this is a freakishly long quest. But I can't. In this quest, since you're fighting all the elemental folks, you might consider putting on either the Cloak of the Deep or maybe the Cloak of Dawn to protect you from some of the elements you'll be facing, the more dangerous ones. But I don't really think that's all that important. First up, we got the Water Folks. And it's just a bunch of Hanky and Olter, I think. And interestingly enough, wind works really well against all of them. The 10-minute time limit is not going to be an issue, I promise you. So next up is the Thunder Room, and like I said, this is probably a good argument for using the Cloak of Dawn here. Because the Muscari particularly are really going to be painful. And I think the Cloak of Dawn protects you from being shocked and stunned. But even so, you can work your way through it pretty quickly, and the boosted MC from the Cloak of Midnight Sun is just generally useful. Finally, Wind Element, and it's going to be nothing but Garbera and Telanthera. Nothing really special, I don't think. We've fought all these folks before. And unless you're using something like Bullseye, it's just a matter of breaking past their attacks and taking them down one by one. So nearly there, one room left, and we've got 6.5 minutes. This one again is just a mix of various folks that we've already fought. Garbera's attack will be good against pretty much all of them, I think. It certainly works on both Hanky and Muscari. And I would expect it to at least do something to Telanthera, although it's probably not going to be very weak. Sort of a rock, paper, scissors type of thing. It may only be the one Telanthera. And I could technically have finished it with just a 5-minute time limit. So there you go. About as long and unrewarding as Tangled Corridor, but at least it was an enjoyable quest. I'll see you for another one next time.